All right. Well, welcome to WCSM's General Store. And if I'm right, this is the 1st of March, or the first Friday of March, I guess I should say. Can you believe?
It's unbelievable. Just
moving right along.
Tearing through it.
Did you see all the memes at the end of January that everybody was sharing on social media about January was the longest year of my life? Like they felt like January was just dragging on. I didn't feel like that. They must not be very old.
Do you do?
I feel like if we didn't have what we have in Indiana to get by, in these months, I feel like it would be definitely. We, as basketball crazy as we all are, I feel like that really helps us. Yeah. If we didn't have basketball to get through,
January would be even longer.
Things,
yeah,
it really would.
Yeah,
so it'd be tough.
I went to Aruba, so that helped a little bit.
Yeah, we still haven't had a discussion with you about that.
Did we ask him to rub it in at all? I mean, did we say, hey, Mark, go ahead and rub it in?
It shortened the month for me a little bit.
Yeah,
I think because that time went too fast.
Yeah, but
when you're on vacation,
he's bringing a slideshow.
Well,
he's bringing a slideshow later.
I don't want to see the slideshow. I don't want to know anything.
It's not going to stop him from bringing it.
No, that's true. I mean, literally, they go somewhere every month, and it's always someplace warm, pretty much.
We like to go warm in the cold times of Indiana. Yep,
that helps you get through.
And Renata's birthday hits on the 16th, so it gives us something to celebrate.
Oh,
yep.
Is that why you picked her? Is because you thought, well, I'll be able to take.
Month.
Yeah, it's a cold weather birthday for my wife, so I'll be able to take her someplace warm and enjoy it myself.
That's what it came down to.
Yeah,
I figured it did. I figured it did. Well, we're glad that you're with us on this Friday in March. And before we get going, and we want to get right into some stuff, we got a great show for you, I think, planned today. But we want to say hi to some good old boys and good old girls out there. Do we have some more top fans?
We really do. That's what Facebook calls them, is top fans, and some of them are still right there in the top rankings with us.
Do we have any bottom fans?
I don't know. We need to figure that out.
The ones that just aren't really sure about it.
Right. Well, let's see here.
There's a lot of those.
Mark Raper. Mark Raper's one of the bottom fans. That's so great. Thanks for noticing. No, we'll get to the top fans here today. We'll go with Margaret Haney. Thank you, Margaret. Mary Jo White, Debbie Taylor, Skip Chambers, Barbara White, Alan Brown, Jane Hanser, Missy LaBrash, still on the list there, Missy, Kelly Williams, Bill Goodman, Bill Weaver, and Chris Barnett. Thank you, top fans.
Thank you.
They are the ones who continuously engage us in social media.
They're the ones who interact a lot. So if you want to be a top fan, just come on over to the Facebook page and just interact with us. You know, there's some questions to get you engaged and
get to know our folks a little bit and see what they're up to and what kind of things they like and what kind of things they don't like.
Yeah,
so it's nice to get to know people.
It is.
Here at the General
It's been
Store.
a lot of fun. So. Yeah, a lot of fun for sure. Well, as I said, we've got I think a really great show today. Not because the special guest today is somebody who's special to me. Most of you know.
That's not the reason.
No, not at all.
Okay.
Actually, I've already talked to him about this over the last few weeks. I'm like, now, don't take this to heart, but when we do this, I'm not your mom. I'm actually interviewing you. You're a guest on a show, and so I don't think he was upset about that, though. He was like, fantastic. Can we just go with this model all the time?
Stop.
No. So, it's mine and Perry's youngest son, Griffin, which you might, if you listen to us on the radio for 20 years, you watched my kids grow up and already know all of our kids, really. But if you've been watching the podcast or listening to the podcast here over the past couple months, then you might have caught the episode where I talked a little bit about Griffin is getting his pilot license, already has his private rating or certification. He's actually a licensed private pilot, but he's continuing his flight education. And, as he comes home, because he's going over to Cincinnati. As he comes home and I get to stand and talk to him, well, how was your day? Or tell me about this flight. Or he'll call me and say, here's what I've been doing. It's so interesting to me, not as his mother, but as someone who has flown to realize what they have to go through to learn how to fly a plane. So I thought it would be really fun because I think it's stuff that the normal Joe, the regular old Joe, doesn't understand, how they get from here,
well,
from
we're
the
not
ground.
included in that. We're not normal.
Well, you're a regular Joe.
Regular Joe.
Yeah, you're regular Joe.
Yeah, I'll take
that. So I just thought it would be a really interesting thing. So welcome to the show, Griffin.
Glad to be here.
Yeah, so talk first a little bit about just, how this journey began for you. Like, what made you want to be a pilot and actually like where you're going to school right now?
Well, it kind of started with, we'll call him a good friend and a mentor, Jason Fagans. He's a pilot, and he took me and his son and a bunch of other of his son's friends on this kind of career day stuff last year, kind of field trips every other Friday. And one of the places we went to was kind of this aviation mechanic place that worked on like the big jets and stuff. And I thought it was pretty interesting. And I kind of wanted to be a mechanic because I took 3 years of auto mechanic class in high school. So I kind of thought that would be interesting because I kind of already had a background in it. But as time went on, I kind of started thinking, why not just be a pilot? Because that's way cooler, right? So
that's a good point.
Yeah.
And
not anything against the mechanics.
No.
Because they are important.
Yeah.
Well, there's no pilots without
yeah, exactly. You wouldn't have a plane to fly.
Right,
But,
right.
And then April of 2022, we took a trip down to Knoxville, Tennessee to Cirrus Aircraft, a manufacturer of small airplanes, and took a kind of a tour of their facility, and I thought it was really cool. So I kind of had my mind made up that I wanted to be a pilot and maybe eventually work for them. And then we went to the Oshkosh Air Show last summer.
Oshkosh Bagosh.
Exactly, yeah. And that was awesome. So I kind of made up my mind, and his daughter, Sydney, went to Sporty's Academy over in Cincinnati, Ohio, and she had a great experience, and I heard only good things about it, so I figured why not try it out, and signed up, and
here you are.
Started taking classes in August, and here I am now with a private pilot license.
Yeah, so Sporty's is actually just a private flight academy, but it's also the pilot program for University of Cincinnati.
Yeah.
So University of Cincinnati has a pilot program, but they use Sporty's to train their students, correct?
Right. And there's the Sporty's Academy for learning how to fly and stuff, but there's also the Sporty's Pilot Shop, which is like Amazon for aviation stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So they sell everything. It's pretty crazy.
And it's all right there in the same building.
Yeah, their warehouse is right there.
So you decided to go to school, and so I've watched you, all the training you've done, and just they really do a really good job. They've got a lot of videos. So you had to actually start with like video training before you actually got to the school to start flying, right? So you kind of had a little bit of, they kind of get them to where they have a little bit of knowledge about what they're going to do before they get in the plane. But do you remember your first time actually getting in the plane with your flight instructor and what that was like? Did they start like, okay, it's yours, like immediately?
Yeah, but it wasn't.
Yes, that's exactly how it was.
Exactly. But
One brave instructor, huh?
Oh, I don't know how they do it, I'll be honest.
it wasn't that much different for me because I had already flown with Jason. So it wasn't like just completely foreign to me or anything. But it was weird because I knew I had him there. My instructor's amazing, Reed. He's awesome. I knew I had him there to, if I didn't know what I was doing, obviously he would take over. But yeah, I kind of already had a basic understanding. So I wasn't very uncomfortable with it. It was
nice.
The crazy thing about flying an airplane is it's easier than driving a car. It's just all the knowledge you have to know.
So flying it itself, actually the maneuvering of it is easier than a car?
100%.
Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Really? And why do you say that?
Well, because traffic is the worst part about driving a car, right? Because you have to worry about other people on the road, not just yourself. And when you're up in the sky, there's other traffic, but there's not a road that you're driving on following somebody and somebody's behind you and somebody's passing you on the left, or you're just kind of up there by yourself flying in a straight line. So it's really simple.
You're saying there's fewer crazy people up there.
Yes.
Yes. That's what he
Sounds like a lot fewer.
He was trying to, a lot fewer.
There aren't very many Mark Rapers up there.
Thank goodness for that.
So when
Is this your kid?
No,
Is this your
right?
kid?
So you got to watch him.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
kind of fast. He'll slip him in on you.
Yeah.
This is what I live with. So, so when you're up there flying, so how do they prepare you for that? Like, because you kind of did your first landing and takeoff, like where you were the one in control of he was in there with you, but you did it yourself that first week. Like 2 or 3 flights in, you were landing and taking off. Like, I mean, does he talk you through it? How do you get? That seemed awfully fast to me. You know what I mean? Like,
absolutely,
especially the landing. But
yeah, well, the first flight I did the takeoff, but he talked me through it. It would have been pretty hard for me to mess it up unless I was just dumb.
An idiot.
An idiot. But
Mark Raper.
Exactly.
Just keep coming back to that.
No, but yeah, he talked me through it, talked me through everything, how to do anything I could possibly need to know, and it was really pretty simple.
And so when you're learning that first toward a private license, talk a little bit about like the maneuvers they have you do so that if you find yourself in a bind while you are flying alone at some point, that you're prepared for it. Like, so talk about some of those things.
So most people when they hear about a plane stalling, they're like, holy crap, they're going to die, right? But
yeah, we don't like that.
That's the common thought.
I don't want the plane to stall while I'm in it. I don't know about the rest of you, but
not at all.
You actually have to be taught how to stall the airplane and recover from it in case you do get yourself in that situation, obviously. And then there's some more not dangerous ones, really. Like steep turns, you have to have like a 45-degree bank angle, and so you can do the big old turn or whatever. And then there's different kinds of takeoffs and landings, short and soft field takeoffs. And those are for, say you're landing on like a grass field, you would do the soft takeoff and landing maneuver instead of just a normal takeoff. Because if you're landing in a wet field, the maneuver for takeoff is you kind of pull back, so you're literally doing a wheelie going down the runway. So the front nose wheel is off, and then when you lift off at a lower airspeed and you just kind of coast along the ground to build up that speed, and then you climb out, and then kind of the opposite for landing, but kind of the same. You come in at a faster airspeed, and when you land, you keep pulling the nose back so that the wheel stays off the ground for as long as possible, so it doesn't get stuck in the mud or something. And then short fields for when you're landing on a super short runway or whatever, and you line up and you hold the brakes and you do full power, and you kind of let the engine rev up, and then you let go of the brakes. And
so is that kind of like you're smoking the tires?
Yeah, there you go.
no, not really.
Oh, no, it's okay.
I was going to say, I don't like that either. So not in my plane.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's where you don't have very much runway to take off, so you've got to build the speed up really before the plane's moving, kind of? The engine speed?
Yeah, you just have to, because normal takeoff, you just kind of roll onto the runway and then add full power and start slowly rolling. But if you stop and have the full power already set and then take off, the airplane gets up to speed faster. And with both the soft field and short field takeoff, you have 10 degrees of flaps in. Flaps increase the lift of the airplane so it can lift off the ground easier. So yeah.
Wow.
And then the short field landing is really fun because you kind of act like, well, in training, in real life you have like an obstacle to clear, but you kind of get down to just right above the obstacle, and then you kind of level off instead of just constantly descending down. And then once you are clear of the obstacle, you pull the power, and call it chopping and dropping it. You pull the power and you drop, and then you're like rounding out to land while you're like not even on the runway. You're in the grass and you're like a foot above the runway getting ready to land, and then once you touch down, you're there. And
wow.
So you touch down a lot sooner than you would on just a normal landing. So those are all super fun.
So yeah, it's just really interesting that, I mean, these pilots have been trained in all of this just in case anything, or like you might get diverted from where you're supposed to land to another airport where there is a shorter, runway or whatever. They're prepared for all of that because they prepare them from the very, very beginning of flight school, and it's something they do, and its repetition is very important. Is they do it over and over and over again. So it's so fun.
Amazing.
So we got some more fun stories that I'm going to have you tell, and we've got a prop here too to kind of explain it for you, and we'll talk more about that coming up on the General Store after this.
local Farmers Insurance agent Christine Flynn put her experience to work for you. Christine Flynn proudly serves Monroe, Lawrence, and Greene County families and businesses and is ready to review your existing policies or provide a no-obligation quote today. Call Christine Flynn at 812-822-2905 to get smarter about your insurance. Again, that's Christine Flynn at 812-822-2905. We know a thing or two because we've seen a thing or two.
We are farmers. Bum, ba-dum, bum, 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 bum.
Underwritten by Farmers Truck Fire Insurance Exchanges and Affiliates. Products not available in every state.
Technology has become more complicated and is becoming more cost prohibitive to hire the in-house talent that you need to keep your business secure and running smoothly. The AME Group can help. Outsourcing the management of your business technology gives you access to a broad range of technical expertise for less than hiring directly. AME offers managed IT services including proactive monitoring, preventative maintenance, software management, device management, and 24/7 network support to keep your technology consistent and reliable. The AME Group has been servicing the local area for over 35 years. Give Orion a call at 812-320-0389 for a free on-site assessment for your business today.
Welcome back to the General Store. We are here on this first Friday in March and glad that you're with us. And we have our first guest, which has been kind of fun. It's Griffin Bruce, who is a current student at Sporty's. Is it Sporty's Flight Academy or just Sporty's Academy?
The Sporty's Academy.
Sporty's Academy in Cincinnati, in the Cincinnati area. I think it's probably considered Cincinnati, but it's at the Claremont County Airport.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we just came back from our break, and so Griffin was talking a little bit about that first, the first things you learn to get basically your private license. And can you talk just real quick about the different ratings? So you've got your private, and that just means you can fly yourself in a plane, right? I mean, you can't fly, or you can fly friends and stuff too, but there could be no money involved, no cash exchange, no financial gain. Is that the difference between a private and a commercial?
Right, and they name the ratings kind of confusingly because when people think about private flight, they think of like a private jet and like business flight like that. But private just means you can fly a single engine land airplane with passengers, but not for money, for compensation or hire. So if the regulation is that you have to pay your pro rata share. So you have to, if me and my friend go for a flight, I have to at least pay for half of the expenses of the flight. If he wants to pay for the rest, he can, but I have to at least pay half.
Wow, that's keep a thumb on.
Yeah. So what that means is that because I'm assuming because you're benefiting, it may not be financial gain for you, but it's a gain regardless because you're getting hours to go toward your commercial rating. Is that what they consider that to be? Is still a gain for you because you're getting the benefit of the hours or the flight time?
I'm not totally sure.
So maybe so what I'm hearing from you is maybe that they want them to get their hours because they want to get their hours and they want to train, not because they want to get paid or have any gain getting their hours.
Because explain
the
commercial
close?
Rating as far as what is commercial rating?
Yeah, so commercial rating, once again, when people think of commercial, they think of big like Southwest or Delta planes. But all commercial means is that you can fly passengers for compensation or hire. So, and I think going back to your question about why don't they let private pilots do it, because I think that they see it as more of a responsibility. Because if you're just, you and your buddy are going flying and you have a commercial license and he can pay you, he's not going to because it's just your buddy. But if you have your commercial license, you're most likely going to be doing it for a job, not just for fun. So I think that's probably why they have that differentiate.
And how many hours? So there's no set amount of hours for a private license. It's just however long it takes you to get it.
The minimum hour requirement is 40.
Oh, okay. And so then there are other ones like instrument. Are there required hours for those, or is that just however long it takes you to learn it?
Yeah, there's an hour requirement for each rating.
Oh, there is.
Yeah, and most people don't even know what instrument rating is. Instrument rating basically means that you can fly in weather conditions less than visual. So you can fly through clouds or in
Fog.
dense fog. Right, yeah.
I don't like that when it's like that.
I'm against that too.
I'm again it.
Put me down.
I'm again it.
I can't see where I am.
But you want your pilot to know. So that's the whole thing is you can
Right.
still,
Yes.
you
Oh
can
my
still,
gosh.
like where we couldn't drive a car
No.
through dense fog without being able to see, but these pilots can because you can read the instrument and the airplane knows where it is.
Yeah. So
Kind of.
It's really weird because learning how to fly instrument is pretty much the same as private, but you're learning it in a whole different way. You're learning it without being able to see outside. So you have to rely on all the instruments, and you have to basically shut your brain and your body off because you can't listen to your brain because if your body feels like it's slightly turning to the left, you might be going straight down towards the ground and you wouldn't even know it. So,
That's just the strangest
That's
thing.
the part I don't like.
I'm against that too.
Right there, what you just said, I don't like that.
So this is where we have the props. So what they do is they train these pilots to only be able to see. They can't see outside the plane. So put those on. We'll let each of you put these on. They're called, what are they called?
They're called foggles.
Foggles. I think Curt's good enough a demonstrator here. There you go. Yeah.
So you can only see down. So that's so you can't see out the plane, right?
Wow.
Yeah, so you can't see outside, so you're basically simulating flying through a cloud or fog or somewhere where you can't see outside.
Very nice.
So the only thing you can see is down at your instruments.
Yes.
Oh, you guys have glasses on. Yeah. So basically, it diverts your attention where all you can see is your instruments.
Right. So you have to solely rely on those.
So
We used to have the glasses like that, similar.
That's
in
right.
Basketball. You know what I was going to
Oh,
talk
yeah.
about.
Oh,
You
yeah.
can't look. They wouldn't let us look down.
I've worn those.
Yeah,
before.
you know what I'm talking about. Yeah.
I've worn those.
And then another, we had the DUI glasses.
Yeah.
DUI goggles.
Oh, you guys did?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Those, yeah.
Yeah.
So
We
does
did.
it make your
It
blurs
just
your
depends
version.
on how what your percentage is, your BAC,
It
and
could
you put
change
different
it.
goggles
Yeah.
on, and
we give
Messed
them.
up.
And they had to drive a golf car for us. And
Yeah.
of course
That's
they were all over the
hysterical.
place.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun.
they had to sign a waiver.
Anyway,
Oh, sure. Yeah.
But it is a great training mechanism. It really is.
It is, no question.
Yeah.
So it's so crazy. So and you touched on that just a minute ago. But pilots have to be meteorologists too. Really, you have to really know not only what the weather is before you go fly and make your flight plan, but you have to know what the weather means and what it means to your aircraft. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, that, and you have to know what it's going to do or have at least an
Right.
idea, because if you're not a weather nerd, you're not going to be a good pilot. Because
Are you a weather nerd?
I'm getting there.
Okay.
Becoming a weather nerd. But
I hope you're better than some of our weathermen locally.
Yeah, we'll keep them out of the air.
I'm not saying any names. but
No.
Yeah.
No.
Some of the predictions aren't great.
Right. Right.
yeah,
Right.
but there's these things called METARs, which are current weather observations, and they have it in like this really weird looking code, and you got to decode it and know what everything's meaning, like what the temperature is, what the temperature and dew point spread is, where the cloud ceiling's at, what
Yeah,
the
you lost me.
wind direction is. Yeah, exactly.
You lost me.
I mean, it's just crazy what the knowledge. That's why I wanted to have him on. I just don't think people realize the depth of knowledge that these pilots have to gain, not just to even fly private for themselves, but especially when they're, what's it called, a liner or something, airliner? What's it called? When you always say people get it wrong when it's
Like you just did?
commercial. Yeah, but like Freightliners or
An airliner. Is
an
that what you're trying to
airliner.
get to?
Yeah, like there's a difference between commercial and airliner. An airliner is where they're carrying passengers, but
Yeah, it's commercial. The commercial rating is what gives you the ability to fly with passengers, but ATP is airline transport,
that's it.
and that allows you to fly airline transport. So
Is that like
transporting
FedEx and UPS, something like that?
FedEx, UPS, also,
non-passengers, just cargo.
and passengers?
Yeah, anything
you can
you're
fly.
transporting anything,
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
right?
Okay.
Yeah.
So like Southwest, Delta.
Okay, I got you. Yeah.
That's what he just keeps correcting me at home when I'm like, Get your commercial license? He goes, well, there's commercial or
right.
there's AT, yeah, whatever.
Say
So
it right, Mom.
I'm trying to learn all this, but
Learn the
there's
lingo.
there's just so much.
Yeah.
So real quick, talk about the other day when you were doing your stage check 1 for instrument rating, and you were up. So when they do is when they're testing them on their knowledge as they go through these, they don't go up with their normal instructor. They make them go with somebody else to see if they've learned. And so tell what was it, Drew? I can't remember who you went up with, but how he had you go. Okay, close your eyes, and then go down, go whatever.
So one of the maneuvers for instrument training is called unusual attitudes, and you'll have your foggles on, and your instructor will tell you to look down and close your eyes, and the instructor will take control of the plane and do a bunch of crazy stuff like fly it in like a complete maniac, and obviously you can't see anything, and your body's telling you what's happening. And when you look up, you have to recover the plane in whatever attitude it's in. So if it's pointed straight down, you got to get it back to straight and level and all that stuff. So
I wouldn't like that either.
That's the most. That's
I'm
the
against
most
that
fun
too.
part.
I just
yeah,
so
Griffin
many
loved
things.
it.
Oh, I bet.
It's awesome. It's so fun. But
So when you came to, so to speak,
right. Well,
what was going on?
This one was different because I've done unusual attitudes plenty of times before. Because in private, you have to have 3 hours of instrument training to get your private license, and obviously I'd been doing it through my instrument training in stage 1. But this one was different because the guy I was doing my stage check with said he did 2 unusual attitudes where he took control of the plane, and he said, "Okay, this time I want you to put your head down, close your eyes, but I want you to fly the plane." And so he was telling me what to do, and he was like,
This
Wait,
is so cool.
repeat
Listen
that.
to this.
Repeat that. Close your eyes and fly the plane.
Yeah, he said, close your eyes and fly the plane. So he said, okay, turn to the left. So I just entered a normal turn to the left. And I'm sitting there thinking I'm totally fine. I'm not doing anything crazy. And then he goes, okay, level back out. Then he goes, okay, turn to the left again. And then he says, recover. And I look up and I'm pointed almost straight down at the ground, still in a turn to the left whenever he told me to level out.
Because your body can't really.
I would have an unusual attitude after I woke up. My instructor would not like it.
It's just crazy.
Yeah, it's
Wow.
You got to really rely on the instruments.
Yeah.
But that just simulates if you're going through a storm or like clouds, and you do get, or if it's nighttime, because this is all part of nighttime training too, isn't it? Or like
No, nighttime you can. VFR is visual flight rules. So all of private pilot training, basically, you can fly at night under VFR conditions. Okay. Night doesn't really have anything to do with it. It's just kind of different.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But they have to do this to know how to, like he said, recover the plane. If you lose your senses,
it's important, right?
Yeah.
You think it's important?
It is possible to get disoriented very easily, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
So,
Yeah.
which would lead me to. Can I ask you a question? Okay.
No.
So
yes, please do. No, I want
can
you guys to ask.
Can we vote? I vote no.
So if you're up there, and I know this is probably only in the movies, right? And
you're gonna ask me a Top Gun question.
Your systems go out. All your the dashboard in the movies.
So
it's
you don't
gone.
have instruments.
Yeah.
You have nothing. Are you trained?
You lose all power. That's what you're saying.
Are you trained to take over the? To get us back. We're in the clouds.
Yeah, you can
that's-
manually.
Because Mark and I have no idea where we are. We're in the clouds.
So yeah, talk
right?
about that.
That's another one of the big things they focus on in training is emergencies. In private pilot training, it's mostly like engine failures,
right,
and that kind of stuff, and the procedure for that. But in instrument training, we do stuff called partial panel. So he'll shut off or block one of my instruments, and I have to fly the plane without that instrument. So there's kind of the 6-pack of instruments. There's the attitude indicator, which is kind of the main one, and then the planes they have over there, it's an electronic screen. It tells you your pitch information. It has an altitude little tape on there with vertical speed on it, so how fast you're ascending or descending, and your airspeed. So that's kind of your main one. And then below that is also electronic in their planes, not in everyone. It's the heading indicator, a compass, but without the compass issues. And then there's the tachometer, the vertical speed indicator, the altimeter, all this steam gauge normal engine or normal instruments. And so he'll like shut off my attitude indicator, and so I'll have to rely on my vertical speed indicator and my altimeter and my airspeed indicator to make sure I'm actually still straight and level in flight, and I'm not.
But if you lose all of those, what do you do?
Well, the steam gauge engines don't
usually
go out, but like there's back backups, kind of. So there's the pedostatic system, which is airspeed, altimeter, and VSI. Which
Curt understood all of that.
yeah,
Every bit of it. Yeah.
it feels like I'm talking about rocket science, right?
Might as well be Greek, really. But the reason I asked that question is I saw a video, and maybe I saw it too, and it's not a video of it happening, but it's a audio of a pilot who probably wasn't supposed to be by themselves.
Oh yeah.
So and he was flying into an area where there was a heavily wooded or it was mountainous, whatever it was, and literally freaking out to the dispatcher, whoever was talking to him on the ground. And she kept asking him the same question: "Are you something trained?" Which basically she meant, "Are you trained to do it without the instrumentation?" And she kept asking him, and he kept freaking out, and finally said no. That's why I asked that question. I hate to bring up doom and gloom here, but
No, but they train you how to use just a good old compass, don't they?
Yeah, the magnetic compass is the last resort.
Yeah.
kind of.
yeah, and I don't want to what if all day. What if the sun's not shining? What if all this stuff? But it's what I'm hearing that we're going to be okay, right? If that stuff
Maybe.
goes out,
A strong maybe.
I'll take maybe. When I'm up there, I'll take maybe.
I'll take
Strong maybe.
Yeah.
And I will say this: I hate flying, and I always have. But learning through him how safe these really are has been a real blessing to me, because I'm just so afraid of flying. And I've always heard it's safer to fly than it is, But real quick before we go, I want you to talk a little bit, because this is a cute little story. When you sign off, or when you're leaving, there's supposed to be some kind of protocol about your sign off, right? Or
Kind of, not really, but though Sporties has the practice area, and whenever me and my instructor are in the practice area, usually the instructors will, once you get to a certain point, you're leaving the practice area and you're switching back over to the airport frequency, and he's instilled some bad habits in me, because every time
That's what moms want to know.
yeah, every time we get out of the practice area, they usually just say last call, or like see you later or whatever, and he'll say last call, see ya, or something, just something stupid. And so I've kind of picked up that habit from him.
But it's funny now, because a lot of them do it, and they know
Nice.
it's read or
And
read
it's,
stupid.
It's funny because whenever one person does it, everybody starts chiming in, and everybody's like, see ya, see ya, see ya. And it's pretty fun.
Kind of like Hey Bud.
Yes.
We do our Hey Buds.
Yeah.
Everybody doing
And I'll be honest with you, the aviation community, and Sporties especially, is so fantastic. And I'm going to ask Mike if maybe he could flash up the Sporties logo or phone number or whatever, in case there's other young kids that have a dream of learning to fly. But aviation community is fantastic, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is there an age? Do they take all ages?
Yeah.
I was curious if it's just for younger people or
Well, there's a
older?
kid at Sporties that's, I think, like 13 or 14.
Oh, okay.
And he's learning how to fly. And there's also, I've seen plenty of people your guys.
You can say old. It's okay.
You old. I've seen plenty of old people
That's
there.
all
With gray hair? Really?
Yeah, exactly.
That's why I was curious if it's just for students or if it was for adults also.
Yeah, that was for everybody.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I know we're dragging on here, but real quick, what's your end goal? You plan to go through, get commercial, and then do you want to be an instructor, or what's your end goal?
Yeah,
Wrap this up for us.
Get all my ratings and certifications and stuff, and then hopefully be a instructor here in Bloomington for a while and build up those hours, and then hopefully onto the airlines and either transporting people or cargo, whatever.
Or your mom.
Or just-
Whatever.
You can just fly me around.
Yeah, I think she's scared of planes. So
No,
maybe not.
I don't. No, I don't think I can afford him.
We
Yeah,
wish,
yeah.
yeah.
We wish you the very best.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We-
thanks for
we
sharing.
appreciate
it. Yep.
Just really proud of you, and it's been fun to watch for sure. So,
Yep.
well, thank you for indulging me, and I think it's been fun to hear how they really do train these pilots.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a great career for sure. So, all right. Well, if it's the Lord's will, we'll be back in here next Friday to have you bring you another edition of WCSM's General Store from the 70x7 studio. Thanks for joining us.